Hi there, it's Lisa. Have another great big thick junk journal to share with you. This one is about 6 by 8. The spine is about 4.5 inches thick and the gator mouth is probably about 5 to 5.5. This one is a witchy junk journal, but it's not like a grimoire or a book of shadows. It's just more for fun. There's some humorous parts to it and just some places to journal. The top part, I don't think you can really see it in the video. This is a crushed upholstery velvet. It's really beautiful. It's deep, deep royal purple with some vintage lace. Underneath it is, I think it's a polyester blend, but it feels like satin, and it's sort of shiny and green. Metal corners underneath. This is MDF board. This is MDF board. This is really thick chipboard. And these are resin pieces that I created using epoxy clay and the, I think it's an IOD mold, Prima mold. I think it's just called Moon and Stars. I may be wrong on that though. But it has just, well, a lot of moon and stars on it, and there's more than this in the mold. I used another mold to make this for the spine. This is just a epoxy clay face, and then I made some resin moons and just touched them with a little bit of gold leafing pen. And again, they have pretty much the same thing, except for this time I've got the crushed roll velvet in the background and the satiny polyester stuff. I guess it's polyester. I don't know. I know it's not real satin. It feels silky though. For the base, you'll see all these little sparkles. How wonderful! Oh, I love those sparkles. Those are from the Tim Holtz mica sprays from the Halloween sets that he had. But any mica spray you can do that with. The cover is chipboard that I covered in canvas material and then painted with acrylic. Then sprayed with the mica sprays, made sure it would stay on. I rubbed and rubbed and rubbed to make sure that there wasn't any coming off. And the touching on the edges is the gold leafing pen. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it'll look cool on a shelf, or if you just lay it out this way. The top has got some frilly dillies coming out. And the bottom doesn't have that many because I know that this will be most likely set on a shelf. The front has all kinds of little charms hanging on a chain. There is a top piece here that you can barely see it because it's the canvas painted in black acrylic as well, and it's where you can put a pen, an ink pen in, or a quill if you want to for whatever you're going to write with your journal, or if you want to you could hang a charm dangle from it as well. I just didn't really want to put a dangle or a tassel here to cover over the moon and the faces. To see the charms, there's a great big one. I think this was one of the old-timey, well, it's not really that old, maybe about a decade old, when we were doing the now I can't remember, it's not artifacts, I'll remember it later, but it was started with an A, and we made them if we could, but there was a lady who designed them, and then we all tried to make our own. But anyway, it's like a glass gem with wire. Look at this guy. I love him. He is a frog with a little crown. I don't know if you can get it in there, but I just love this. Is probably my favorite charm I've ever had, and I do have a couple of them, or I'd have kept it. Ooh, it's some bright lights. He's got a little crown. He's like the frog prince. Got little diamond eyes. Seems like it's pretty bright. Let me try turning off a light here and just see if it helps. Does that help or not? I think it might a little bit. So let's see if that works a little bit better. Here is a little pendulum that I just made out of resin with some alcohol ink to give it some color in a resin mold. Moon and Stars charm. A writer's quill or writer's pen, like a vintage looking one. Little key. A little journal. It doesn't open, it's just a charm. And a little clock. And to open it, it's a nice big lobster claw clasp, and that way you could alter if you wanted to add more to it. It's got lots of chunky stuff within it. Let's start from page 1. Okay, so this, I just stuck this in here for fun. Just a really inexpensive Bic ink pen that I used some epoxy clay that I had left over from the front to put a few tentacles on. or you could change it out with whatever pen you wanted. But I thought that turned out just fun. It's not real heavy, but it's a little bit on the top side. But it should hold just about any kind of pen you want. Nice big chunk piece of lace, which I think is gorgeous. Love that big thick lace. This is a Crafter's Companion. It's probably retired now, but I think it was just called Black and Gold designer line. A Tim Holtz piece of ephemera stuck into a piece of filigree that is attached to the side with some metal corners. And in the front pocket, this is also just some canvas that I painted and sewed on before I attached it in. So you can see I used green so it would stand out. This is green thread that I just sewed around the edges to make some little storage spots. Little fun pocket. This clips over for some journaling spots. Let me try turning this one down here as well. Well, that might be better, isn't it? We'll see. Dreamer of Dreams. Sheena Douglas die cut. For a while, I think she had some things with Crafter's Companion. And that's just a Tim Holtz rub-on, Dreamer of Dreams. Another Tim Holtz piece of ephemera. And then a nice little tag that I just collaged some stuff onto. And this piece comes out, so you can write on it. And on the back, just a place where you can stick some things under. Just fill. Now, of course, these kind of things can always be replaced if they don't seem like they fit in there very good. This is the last big chunky journal I'm planning on doing for a while. I want to do some regular size ones. These took forever and they were super, super fun. And I do have enough left over because I got a little carried away. I think a lot of journal makers do, of having so much ephemera and ideas floating around that I probably have enough for some more witchy journals. This is a pocket. This is the only digital I've ever purchased from Etsy. And it's a huge set. It was a Gothic set and it had like 13 different sets in it. And I can't remember who it was by. I think it was by Digital Curio. I'm not really sure, but it was like $13, but literally thousands and thousands of images. And when I printed this one out, oh my goodness, it's just so beautiful. I don't know if you can tell from the picture, but there's, the Harlequin background in the back in 2 shades of black. This is really a beautiful purple. It looks blue, I think, on the camera. Does it look more purpley if I get it up closer? I'm just curious here. I'm playing around with it now. Yeah, there you go. That's about the color it really looks, purple. And then I used some green thread to sew around to make the pocket. This is a vintage, well, actually antique image of Macbeth's 3 Witches. This one I added some color to it to make it a little bit more colorful for the book. But you'll see this image a lot in a lot of witchy journals, but it's actually just an antique painting of Macbeth's 3 Witches, and I think that makes it even more fun just to realize that witches have been around for a long time, and at least the idea of witches. And as some people have it as a religion, some people have it as a belief system, and some people just have it for fun. And either way, I think it's all okay. Here's a ticket from Tim Holtz. This is a piece of tracing paper, and this was probably something I did once, and I think it turned out absolutely gorgeous, but I will never do it again because it was so hard to do. I took alcohol inks and put them on tracing paper, because tracing paper is extremely thin and tears very easy, but I wanted to try to make it thicker, which I did, and so now it's pretty sturdy. But I used alcohol inks, and then I coated it after I dyed it in clear embossing powder. But to make that embossing powder stick was really fun, and I had to, emboss it and heat it from the bottom. Anna Griffin Fern was a die cut little thing, little stitching all around. This is an image-heavy journal for the person who gets it. Knows. I know that they love images more than they probably will journaling, but they will probably use it for some journaling and for some keeping some memorabilia. Beautiful Celtic symbols. Those are my favorite for anything witchy. I thought she was beautiful. I took different images from different places and again altered them to just, and that's where most of your digital images come from. It's not people creating art. They're usually snagging pieces here and there, and there are some copyright laws to where if you change an image to where it is not recognizable to the original image, you're pretty much okay. I even looked up the, because I worked for a patent and copyright attorney for several years, and I looked up some of the old laws and when people have actually gotten sued, and if the judge looks at it and goes, yeah, I wouldn't know that was that person's image, then you're okay. Just a die cut. This was a meme off of Facebook. Happy as a witch in a broom factory. I feel pretty safe copying memes that somebody else made with somebody else's stuff. Beautiful imagery. The Triskill symbol and the stag, the goddess, the tree, Celtic nodding. Beautiful little witch here. This page I used E6000 glue and some of that really chunky German glass glitter, which I think it's funny we call it German glass glitter, the big chunky glitter. And I have a friend in Germany who told me they don't have anything known as German glass glitter to her knowledge, but it made me giggle that we do. This is a die cut. I think it's a really old Tim Holtz steel roll die. 2 pieces of filigree, and I just attached them toward the center so they could be used to have things stuck under. And I just couldn't resist. Oh wait, no, I stuck it all the way under there to put these little cards under here. Look how mini they are. Look how teeny tiny. I got these on eBay years and years and years ago, and I've actually played solitaire with them just because I could. But it's a whole deck. I have a set in red and a set in blue with the backs. I mean, they look just like real cards. Have you ever seen anything so dang cute? And they're actually made out of thick coated board, just like a real card. So even though you might not can see it from my... Look how cute they are. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway, I don't know if it excites you as much as it does me, but I am mesmerized by little teeny things. These 3 right here are tarot cards, and I bought the deck because they just had the most beautiful art images of witches, so I could use them in journals. So here we have the 7 of Cups. And a fun little witch, looks like she's either buying or training. The 2 of Pentacles. I don't know a whole lot about tarot reading, but I do know that the pentacles actually in old days represented just the worker. They didn't have cards like this, but they had the ace, the clubs, the spades, the diamonds, and that was the original card reading. But the pentacle represented the worker or the poor class of people. The 7 of Wands, or 8 of Wands. I love her little kitty in there. Great images. And then just 2 cards that I created to go in here, which gives a lot of journaling room. Little spider stamp on the corners. And isn't that cute? For a back. This page was a giggle for me. I'll tell you why. There are 2 pockets here. One here and then one here. And this is just for doing some journaling on. This is from a late 17th century German book. And I couldn't read it, of course, so I had to laugh when I did look it up because it looks so spooky and cool, and it's actually just has nothing to do with witches. It has everything to do with proper words to use for celebrations, for like Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays. It's written in the old German that even some German people can't read very well. But I think it looks creepy, doesn't it? It's everything like Grimm fairy tales should be. But I just love it. Anything in German is just an amazing thing to me. If I could go to one place and learn one language, I think that's where I would go. These are the Tim Holtz, the steel roll die. I think it's called Gothic leathering. I may be wrong on it. And a Crafter's Companion die. Image off the internet. And some of what I call the seaweed lace. Don't know what it's really called. Now, here's my funny story. See all the green? This is Tim Holtz liquid pearls. And it was an older bottle, but it was still nice and juicy, but I couldn't get it. No matter how many times I poked a needle through it, I couldn't get the nozzle clear. So I kept poking it, and I got a little bit to come out, and poked it, got a little bit to come out, poked it, and squeezed it again, and the whole lid come off, and it just spurted everywhere. So I just utilized it. I just smeared it in, and there's the whole bottle of liquid pearls almost. Anyway, I thought it was funny. Even when it happened, I did sew around the edge. This is from the Graphic 45 paper line. I didn't pay attention. I've had them for so long again that I don't know exactly which ones. Tim Holtz stamp. Oh, are they crazy cats? If I play dead, will you go away? Oh, snarky cats. That's what it is. This is an old Tim Holtz stamp. Martha Stewart punch. And on the side is another little tag. It says Frightful Folly. I think that is actually the title off of one of the Graphic 45 papers, on the edges. But that was the title of one of the papers. So I just clipped it off. On the back I just sewed on a little piece there to make it where it would hold the tag without it falling out. One of the Tim Holtz layers, black and white layers. Those are really beautiful, and they can be colored in, but I think they're really pretty just as they are. A little stamped image. Life Renewal Potion label. You can write on the back. A gigantic doily in an oval shape, and I took stamps and just pieces of Tim Holtz decoupage papers and a lot of inks and layered it in there. And I've had this in my stash colored like that for so long that I forgot I had it, and I pulled it out and just stuck it in there. And what witchy book wouldn't complete without the Wizard of Oz witch? I don't know her name. Isn't she just fabulous? Past life spell. This is another old thing of ephemera that I had stuck in my stash. It looks like I'd at some point coated it in resin for something. Made it miniature. Tim Holtz cauldron. And so I made a couple tickets to go into it. Cut it out in some thick chipboard. So I took those images, turned them into tickets. She's a creepy old lady. Da-da-da-da, with her apple. And then this one has some of the runes on it, and a witch's grimoire, emit 1. It's funny how this won't pick up unless it's completely covered on the background while it... I think I'm having more fun playing with the camera anyway. Coven Room 6, midnight to 3 a.m., which is the witching hour, and bring your own quill. This is tracing paper. It was extremely thin, so I sewed it onto a piece of cardstock. Crafter's Companion die, elaborate dress die, and I just hand cut a hat to match for her and took a glitter pin over top. A layaway ticket with a paper key. This is a tag I made. Elphaba Throp, in loving memory. Do you know who Elphaba Throp is? We will avenge your death. Obviously Wizard of Oz. She wore some ruby red sneakers. Yep, it was the Wicked Witch's sister. So here we go. Elphaba Throp. Gone but not forgotten, especially your ruby red slippers. Been wanted dead or alive. Dorothy Gale, 1,000 cash reward for the terrible murder of Elphaba Elfie Throp. Approach with caution. She and her furious dog Toto are extremely dangerous. Last seen trying to kidnap the wizard and take him to an unknown place she calls Kansas. You know, it's been a good day when you didn't have to unleash the flying monkeys. And then I had a paper pad that was Wizard of Oz. It's quite old. I'm sure you can probably find it still on eBay, but it had some great images of the Wizard of Oz. And this is one of those from Dorothy. And at the top I just used Tim Holtz, I think it's called Gothic, foam lettering for witch and shoe. And Killer Stiller was from just some basic little stamps. So witch, killer, shoe stiller. That's what I thought of when I saw Dorothy, that evil young girl, killed poor Elphaba. She's wicked. She's the true wicked witch of the Oz. I remember I seen a meme one time that I hadn't really thought about. It said, who should we fear more, the witches that were burned and hung, or the people who burned and hung the witches that weren't really witches? This one is another image that I got off of the internet. It was a sign that was being sold in China. So I figured, they stole a lot of our stuff. I'm taking their Soul of a Witch, Heart of a Gypsy picture. Who knows who they stole it from? Oh, yeah. Gypsy Fortune Teller. This is a cover of a vintage book. Just another piece out of my birthday book. It looks sort of creepy. Just stamped it with some Tim Holtz stamps. And over here is a golden wheel vintage image. It does come out so you can write on the back. This book was a vintage, almost antique book on castles in Germanic language. And I was trying to make it look aged, and so I took it and I literally burned the edges. And then I took a lighter and I held it underneath it right here so it could burn through a little bit. And I was playing with my cat, or talking to him, and I burned through it. But it turned out to be fortuitous because it was in exactly the perfect spot to show this beautiful gypsy witch, face peeking through. Great image of castles. Again, those Tim Holtz foam stamps to say witch. And cute little kitty with a fortune teller ball. A great piece of lace just sewn on. A place here, which is a piece of sort of satiny material. I did leave it big enough to where, yep, you could put an ink pen in. This is one that I found on the internet. A witch ought never be frightened in the darkest forest, because she should be sure in her soul that the most terrifying thing in the forest was her. Da, da, da. Place to journal. Fun little teardrop clip. Just an image that I found on the internet, and I changed the color and the size and the shape and just put it on a piece of paper for journaling around. A little booklet. This is a little piece that I had left over from that paper that I worked so hard to make, so dang it, I was going to use it. Just some fun stuff for journaling. Tim Holtz little ephemera pieces. Rub-ons from the dollar store. Some tea-dyed papers that I just added some extra staining to. This is an image that I got off of Adobe. I did the 10 or 20 free images for the first month. I think it's beautiful. Again, come on, focus for me. There you go. Isn't it a gorgeous image? It's supposed to be Maiden, Mother, and Crone, the triple goddess. It's gorgeous images. A nice little rose ephemera. And a stamp from Tim Holtz Snarky Cats that says, I meant to behave, but there were too many options. This is an old Spellbinders die. I think it's called Celtic. Or Celtic Knots or something like that. And this is the Tim Holtz Pocket. And a die with just some imagery from, I think, is it in Ireland? There's a road that has these trees that overhang it, and people take so many pictures there because it looks somewhere between beautiful and a little creepy. But that's what this is. This is the background. This is an old image of those trees, and then I just put this beautiful witch over top of it, and a little bit more sun in the background to make it look like she's getting ready to go out even for late night. One of Tim Holtz fragment leaves coated in different inks and a little bit of embossing powder. I'd made a bunch for a shelf for Halloween and kept one for the journal. This is an image, another one that I got off of Adobe, and I printed out two and cut out the rocks so that they would overlay just right for a pocket. So it's like a little hidden pocket. Another Adobe image. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that. Again, this is one of those where I printed out two of the crow so I could overlay him with a pocket. Like a pocket so he could hold some ephemera pieces. Wing of Bat. And that's from a graphic 45 Eerie Tales. Another one of the trees. And these are just Tim Holtz ephemera pieces. Tucked in here behind the little raven. I guess it's not really a crow. I didn't really know the difference between crows and ravens. I just thought ravens were big crows. Well, I knew that they were a different creature, but when I went to Yellowstone National Forest, I realized no, a raven is huge. At least the ravens there were. Some of them stood over 2 feet tall. They were just monster birds and just beautiful. Another raven or crow. That's a raven. You can his beak. And again, that same this is part of that other image, so I just cut these rocks off to make a nice pocket. Little Anna Griffin Dresden, I think that's what they're called. Tim Holtz, just a little picture off the internet. The Village Apothecary Shop. Tim Holtz stamp. Again, just an image that I took, made bigger, faded it out, made it to where you can't recognize it. I don't know if you can see it because it's really shiny. There you go. Oh, that's the light that's causing all the problems. Okay. This is a skeleton leaf. Oh, bear. Oh, he's going to jump. Hold on. You coming? Well, come on. He jumps on my shoulder to get to his bed. Here he comes. Oh, yep, there you go. Just knock off everything you got there. Okay, come on. Ow! Okay, claws in the back. Jump. There we go. Okay. This is a skeleton leaf, and I just sewed around it behind some acetate to protect it so it wouldn't get all torn up. And then you could tuck a few little things here underneath the edges. Piece of lace. Again, the piece of lace on the back of this. This is just a piece of vellum that I sewed into. Has a sort of a striped image to it. And a clear acrylic. It was a self-stick pouch. Where are you coming from? There you are. There we go. Well, sort of. I got lights everywhere. Well, okay. Well, I guess it's just a clear. We'll have to cover it up. Which is chicken. I must be hungry. Which is kitchen, established 1729. An old piece of ephemera I made years ago and coated in resin. And a Ouija board. And this is out of that antique castle book. I took a piece out that was falling out of the book and turned it into an envelope. And just a piece of tea-dyed paper that I tried to burn and it didn't burn well. So this way now it's just for notes. A little bitty die cut stuck behind there. Which is chicken. Okay, that made me giggle at myself. Isn't this just a beautiful book? So many images, a few little actual pictures of old castles, but the illustrations I love. Black magic, just a circle disc. And this, I'm a witch, what's your excuse? This is out of the Wizard of Oz paper line that I was telling you about, that Dorothy's in. I left this one plain, Dorothy running back to the house. The tornado is coming, and all this image was just on the paper as it came. This is those trees in the image. I got just a PNG file of 2 little witches and put them, I copied them, moved them over. Why will you not focus? Why do you hate me today? Anyway, just a piece of handmade paper. I don't know if any of you have them or remember them. Tim Holtz had a debossing, not embossing folders, and they just had words on them, and you could roll over it, and then when you debossed it, it made it look like it was a little bit 3D and sunken in. I love those. I haven't used them very often, but when I do, I often wonder why I don't use them more. They look really amazing. Just a piece of satin ribbon. This paper clip makes me happy. You know, we often have used florals in things, but I had got a Venus flytrap last summer, and like every Venus flytrap I have ever bought almost every year for the last 30 years, it came to my house to die. And so this time I decided its death in life would not be in vain, so it became a specimen card. What more appropriate book than a witchy book to have a Venus flytrap specimen card? Stuck a little moss, a little goopy stuff, a little bit of stamping, maybe a little too much stamping, but it covered up a lot of mistakes that I had made gluing it together, so, and I made it all goopy and grungy, so it looks pretty cool. a vintage, I think this is like a illustration manuscript of the Zodiac, and I just put some gold foiling leafing on there. On the back, just a place you can journal, and I just threw some glue on and some gold leafing and ripped it up so it would stay on there. Here's the other side of that doily that I had stuck stuff to. This is out Tim Holtz, the hand is, and a beautiful gypsy witch. And on the back of her is a pull-out piece where you can journal on of tea-dyed paper. To make magic work, you must first believe. This is the Anna Griffin Halloween embossing die. No pull-out piece, just a place to journal. I have a stencil with some wings. I love that. It looks so cool. There's about 3 or 4 different wings on it. I gotta figure out who made that, because I don't know if it was Andy Skinner. I don't think so, but maybe. Part of Tim Holtz tapes, Elixirs and Potions, just a little piece cut off of one. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And a stamp and some tea-dyed paper. A lot of sewing to make a pocket. Little witchy die cut, little sewing, little witch. This was another one of those fortuitous moments. I printed out this witch and she was quite colorful, but I had run out of ink and the only thing that was left was the blue and black, and it printed out that way, and I think it looked pretty cool. Madame Fortuna, she knows. For 25 cents anyway, she knows. Ink journal on the back. Another clear pocket self-stick that you can get from Amazon. Tim Holtz ephemera. Piece of lace. Again, this was the same thing, except for it turned out a little bit more purple. Just a beautiful image of a witch with her black cats in the forest. And the Tim Holtz framelit embosslets. Embosslets, that's what they're called. And I just tacked down the bottom so I could use the top as a clip. And a piece of paper to journal on. And a stencil in the background. I think it's a Diane Wakely stencil. That's an older one. So I just used a lot of distress inks. I think this was a unbranded die pocket, I think, which is Brew. This is an envelope that a bill came in that I hated to see, so I decided to make it beautiful. Now it's in my junk journal. This is a card of one of those tarot cards, and I just stuck it on there, made a place to journal. And left this here as a pocket. Tag, it says be genuine. No file type tag. The leaf vine ribbon that you can get, really inexpensive if you're looking for that. When I first saw it, I remember back in probably about 1998 when I first saw this kind of ribbon, and it was pretty expensive because you had to buy everything by the yard from the craft stores, and now you can get like 100 yards of it for $7. This is the other side, that really pretty red-headed witch side, where the rest of that comes through, and these are just images that I altered and changed and put on the back of a forest, and I put these little Celtic knots on them. An Anna Griffin die, one of her old ones. Isn't that beautiful? I just love that. I put a clear pocket over it. Some journaling spots with the moon phases. The triple goddess look. Image. A leaf woman. Usually you see the leaf man, who is known in Celtic imagery. There's a woman of the forest with her acorn in her hair. Just a journal spot. The different moon cycles. And for a witch, it tells you when is best for the new moon to start a new project, new jobs. Waxing crescent to bring wanted things to your life. The waning crescent for your house cleansing. To use sage. Okay, that made me giggle. When I first moved to Idaho, I like things that are supernatural and fun, and you know, I play around with gems and jewels or whatever I want to, but my husband's always extremely cynical and funny. And there's always forest fires here in Idaho. Well, I shouldn't say forest fires, there's just fires because it's not really a forest, it's more like a desert. And I was managing an apartment complex, and I thought this lady was having a party with a lot of marijuana and drugs, and went there, and it turned out she had somebody saging her apartment, and I told her I was just checking. And she said, well, she felt like there were evil spirits in her apartment, so she was saging it. And I said, okay, I hope everything works out for you. And I went back and told my husband, and he said, if there were evil spirits and sage got rid of them, as many thousands and tens of thousands of acres that burn every year in Idaho of sagebrush, there would be no evil spirits here. Anyway, that's what it's like living with my husband. Anyway, these were big envelopes that were, I think they were just U.S. Postal Service envelopes, I'm not sure, but where you can get nice big bills in. So I took 3 of those. I put some texture paste on them, some of the Inca Gold to go over the texture paste, and put little images for journaling cards. That's just an image. I pulled 3 or 4 or 5 images and stuck together. A little stamping. And I put a piece of paper in the back to make it look prettier. These are Tim Holtz rub-ons, the words are. That says moon. And then I got it together here with a piece of lace and a magnet, so it won't fall out. Another image found on the internet for a witchy woman. She's really colorful, isn't she? Same idea, cut the envelope in half and texture paste and Inca Gold rub. And then this is an image. This is an antique image. I can't remember where it's from, but you'll see it in a lot of books. It's now into public domain. She is beautiful though, isn't she? Holding her crystal ball. Where are you going back? Oh, just stamped images. And places where you can journal all you want to. If I can get her back in there. So that one says, listen to the moon. Check this lady out. She looks tough, doesn't she? She's a little scary. This is the other side of that really beautiful paper. I was telling you that came from the digital set that I bought. And just a little bit of, I think it's Hecate, the goddess of witchcraft. It's just a statue that was for sale, and I copied the image and stuck it on there off of the sale site. This is a vintage image of a witch. My guess is that it was for some kind of play. I love that broom, just sticks. Just sticks. I did copy that one on photo paper, so it's extra shiny. And a clear pocket. The cauldron was from a little mold, and it's made it with epoxy clay, which is really hard. It's self-drying, so you don't have to put it in an oven or anything. Just a nice little die cut on top of some printed vellum paper. Again, a tag. This is one of those where I took some wings off the internet that were a PNG file, and I put a bird skull over top of them, on top of just some distressed paper that I copied in. A little vintage tag. No, not vintage. A inked on tag. Believe in the magic. I'm trying to make this faster so it doesn't last for an hour. So I'm sorry if I'm talking too fast. Image with some lines for journaling. I wish I could get this light to work a little bit better. Little mushroom, some lace, palm image with some runic writing, it looks like. This is from a paper pad that I found at Michael's, and it has all kinds of really cool images in it. And it was one of those where you bought one, you got 2 paper pads for free. So basically you got 2 really thick, full-size paper pads, 3 of them for the price of 1, which was nice. A real fern that I put into a little specimen card. Toxic, which it's not toxic, but it is now. Field notes. Fun little paper clips. Nothing more fun to me than different shaped paper clips. Little Ouija board image inside of a teardrop paper clip. It's a really pretty image. A piece of paper out of that, I think it spells a magic paper pack. This is that old, it's actually a garnet from a necklace. Just seemed to look perfect on there. Little pocket. Just overlaid some images on some wood, on some piece of parchment with the triquetra. This is a die cut stuck on a piece of vellum. An old vellum frame, and behind it is a picture of the Morgan with her ravens and her crows. The goddess of war. An Irish and Celtic legend. War and magic. Envelope with the goddess picture. Die, this is a Sheena Douglas die and stamp. And then this is one of Tim Holtz' snarky comments, little stickers. I admit that my weirdness is above the national average, but I'm comfortable with that. Again, just some images overlaid on some stained printed paper. Place to journal. Little rub-on. This was a really beautiful image. I just added a little color to it just to make for a nice divider on some vellum paper. Again, another gorgeous picture of the Morgan. I think she's beautiful. No lace along the edges. This is now one of those that I sort of created or changed up a little bit. This one, the skull came from Adobe, and then I added these images onto it for printing it out. And I printed out two so that the skull image becomes a pocket. This is a little bit thicker chipboard, so it will last if I pull and poke at it. Gorgeous little witch. Why won't you? There she is. Is she beautiful? Oh, come on, young, you go back in there. This is a page out of a Gaelic book. Every time I think of druidry, witchcraft, any of that kind of stuff, I think of the Gaelic language. I think it's so fun to listen to, and it sounds so enchanting. I remember my son and I were talking. He's in his 20s, and I told him if I could learn one language, it would be the Gaelic language. And he said, Mom, why? It's the one language you'd probably never be able to use hardly anywhere. I don't care. I like it. Ain't a cute little kitty on a little medallion. Ain't a cute little kitty people. I had this as my phone background. It's just an image off the internet. I think she's sort of fun doing her little spell work over a cauldron. This is one of the illustrated manuscripts, and I altered it a little bit. Added in a few other images to make it look more witchy. Tore up the edges. Warning, witch property trespassers will be used as ingredients. Some rub-ons. Hey, little teeny paperclip came up here. Let's clean it back up. This was a fun mistake, but I like it. This is out of the DCW Once Upon a Time books, and it does have a little pocket here. But this is a window die. I did put acetate on both sides, so it's a see-through pocket, so you can see her peeking through. She's looking at you. And some little tags, just black, that have some inking on them. She's really a cool little witch, isn't she? This is an altered image. I think it looks really beautiful. Got the crow, got the rain, got the woman standing in the rain. I'd say probably at least half or more of the women I know have gone out and stood in the rain and just enjoyed it. A little tag. Event record stamp. Put some purple lace on the bottom. Seems like Stephanie Moore. No, not Stephanie, Melanie Moore. I haven't seen her online much. I hope she's okay. Seems like it's been at least 8 or 9 months since I've seen her doing anything. But she sent that to me in a rack one time. Rack swap. Magic is real. I actually thought of her the other day and sent a little message to her Facebook, but I don't even know if she even gets on there or if she is okay. I hope so. Again, the witch is from Macbeth, from Shakespeare's Macbeth. There have been so many images made of that, so many paintings and artwork. Just a book page with an overlay of a crow and some skulls. This is out of the Once Upon a Time paper pack and made a pocket. Oh, I got stuck there. Fun little fairy image with some mushrooms. A little spurt of Tim Holtz ink. Whenever I make a pocket, I do like to have it at least lined at least a little bit. If you look down there, you can see I only do it partially, because that way you can just at least see this. You won't have like a big white chunky thing sticking out at you. Sewed up the edges on each end so it will have some extra strength there. And this was a pair of earrings that I had for a long time ago. It's like a crown with a pearl inside. I don't know where the other one went to. I guess if I ever find it, it goes in a junk journal too then. Some potions with a little foiling. Tim Holtz ephemera with the Tim Holtz die cut for some journaling spots. A little inking. Another one of these just on the other side. A great image of spooky little witch out in the forest getting her little elemental weirdos after her to help her do her dirty deeds. Or maybe they're good deeds, I don't know. Just because something looks scary doesn't mean it is scary. A little doily that I was going to put on there and tuck something behind, but it didn't end up right, so I just glued it down. Yeah, it still looks cool. The other side of that Gaelic book page that has all the Gaelic ideas, the Gaelic pronunciations. A little bit of Celtic Viking looking crow on a moon. And this is a pocket right here, but there is nothing in it right now. Piece of lace. The fates, the three fates, the ones who, I think is it the Odin religion, the old religion, that the fates actually determine what each man's life will be like in front of the tree. The leaf man, again, it's just, I printed that on a piece of vellum. Tim Holtz stenciled through with a rub-on from the dollar store. Printed a crow on top of some printed looking paper. The other side of the bag, I did cut the other side and made it look like a bag on both sides. Little wicked sewed on there. A little tag. And a little kitty cat. And just some dyed stamped inked paper. Well, it's actually a cardstock. And this is one of my favorite images I've ever seen. It's just the Morgan, Moraine, heard all kinds of names. I'm not really sure if one of them's correct or if they all are. Where's that from? Black as midnight, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch. A print out of the manifestations using the lunar phases. A little witchy emblem in the middle. A guide to connecting to the powerful energy of the moon. Different names of the moons, what they're good for. Little witch. This is the Tim Holtz. I forget what they're called, but it's a new witch dice set that he came up with last October. I think they're really cute. Some sewing around the edges. A really old paper clip that was used when scrapbooking was really popular. And here's all kinds of little yummies in here. I'll just put it back there in a minute. Another little top image. Sewed these in to make it like two pockets. No card, wicked, file topped. Frightful beware. Postcard. I think it's graphic 45. Yeah, definitely. Don't they have great papers? Moon dust label. Another printed image. It can be written on. Elixir's potion, tonic, Tim Holtz label. Stamp, tape. This is an image that is a bunch of images that I stuck together. So you have a woman, witch hat, owl. I don't know if you can see it close or not. Over here's a crow. It's not focusing very good. With a wonderful little fuzzy dog and some purple roses. It's a tag. Oh, it's clipped on there. These are those clips that you just get from Walmart, and I stuck it in with some vinegar and peroxide and salt, and it rusts everything. But sometimes that will come off if you do it quickly, so I covered it in glossy accent so it would stay permanently rusty. Piece of filigree on top of a paper. Eye of newt, toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing, Macbeth. And a moon and star charm. Just a plain paper to journal on. Another triple goddess symbol with some writing paper. Another image that I just put all kinds of images in to create. I think she's beautiful. Again, I just wish I could get my lighting right. One of these days I'll get like real lighting. I'm going to prove to myself I'm going to keep making videos before I do that though. And golden moon. And just a big tag to journal on or to put a photo. Printed vellum, and this is, I think I've mentioned before on another video, anytime that I've connected signatures and there's that space, to me that's a sign where I can put thick things in on that page. So this one I made a really thick, almost little booklet that's attached in like a signature, and so this is some more of the Crafter's Companion gold foil, gold and black foil, and I fell in love with her. I can't remember if it was an Adobe image or it was one of the ones that I licensed, and I can't remember if it was Pixels. Oh well, anyway, I guess if I need it I can find it. And just a bunch of little tags. Both of these are pockets. Somebody just found a wonderful, beautiful lady and put a wig on her and some horns, and she just looks fantastic. Here's just a pocket with a wood piece. And so she decided to start living the life she'd imagined. This is a stamp from one of Crafter's Companions' Molly Harrison stamp sets. From Tim Holtz die set. This is another one that comes out, so it could be replaced with an image of your own. Touch of Magic from the Once Upon a Time paper line. Stamped images. A little pocket. This is the Anna Griffin 3D layered sticker from the Oddities paper line Graphic 45. Just a piece cut out. A vintage mushroom set that I shrunk down and kept that one. Old witch. Please don't. Little tag. Also, I don't have any editing software anymore, so this is going to go through exactly as it is. Beautiful lace. Just off of eBay. I'll try Critra symbol. Charm, metal charm. And then here is a tag for more journaling. Graphic 45, a little pocket. A fern that I cut out 2 tags and cut the center out of a tag with another tag die that fit right in it, a layered tag set, and then I just put some laminate between them and an eyelet to create a fern clear tag. I think it looks really cool. Some more of Tim Holtz witches. Little cat. I printed this on the paper. It's from an old a 1693 witches, cast out all witches and devils pamphlet to the people of the hamlet, and printed it on the paper. Beautiful little gypsy image. Like belladonna and a few other witchy herbs. And your journal on the back. Some lace. This is one of the Crafter's Companion edging dies. Leaf and lace. These I printed out on photo paper, so they might be a little shiny. It's a vintage image of a lady on a stage dressed up like a sorceress. Gypsy Witch, seen your future since 1692. Some image. I left this little piece of filigree up so you could tuck something behind it or write something up here. Got lots of little gems on the bottom here. So here we've got a sparkly and the Yggdrasil tree, a leaf man image, leaf man face. And here's a filled in, sort of like epoxy filled moon image. Caranos, is it Caranos? I think it's, how do you pronounce him? He's one of the gods of the forest in old, is it Celtic religion? Well, just a plain tag. Graphic 45, Doyle, double, trouble, fire burning, cauldron, bubble. I love this. And this beautiful ribbon. Only got a little piece of it. No, I want the whole thing. Another tag that I just stuck some images together and printed out with a bat, witchcraft, and some prints and general information. Life is magical with some foiling. This is another one of those images where I took a bunch of different images and stuck them together and printed them out. Used a piece of thick acetate to make a pocket, and I used the eyelets to stick it on with so I didn't see all the tape on the edges. I really like this. I took this guy's head, another image from a body, another image from the forest, and some of these trees weren't there, so I overlaid one of these over here to make it look more foresty. I guess my thought was make it look like some kind of druid priestess calling out one of the old elemental gods. Another printout with the leaf man and the pentagram and or pentacle. This is a Sheena Douglas tag cut, and come in instead of like 3 or 4 tags that cut out this shape, which is adorable. And the tree is Sheena Douglas as well. Printout that I just cut to fit inside the tag. I have like a tree goddess or a tree elemental or tree nymph. And did some sewing around it. Leaf man, tree man. Made him into a pocket sewed around. Come what may, it's one of the Tim Holtz gold foil stamps. Not stamps, stickers. Printed this on the paper. I don't even know what it really is, but it looked really cool and witchy, doesn't it? Crafter's Companion Enchanted Paper Line. Can't remember which one. I think it's Enchanted Forest. I made a tag to go in it, and that's the Tim Holtz masking stencil with just some hickory smoke distress ink and a triple goddess metal charm. I just took my gold leafing pen over it to make it match more because it was silver. Just took the leafing pen around that. Got some some purple velvet, deep purple. Another pocket with some lace and an old alchemic book image. All kinds of creepy stuff on there. I like it though. Why can't you focus? There we go. So it looks really cool. I'm thinking about doing a dark academia or a alchemy book. I know a few people have made some and they are really amazing. Another image that can be taken out. This is a vintage image or antique image. This is the alchemist's table of symbols, and I decided to turn it into a fold-out pocket with the Ouija board, die cut, keep your eyes on the moon, foiled card. Let's see if I lay these out here. Isn't that fun? This is an old Anna Griffin edging die and embossing. One of the 12-inch ones that she used to have a while back. Piece of lace, made a pocket. I love that symbol up here too with the dragon and the castles. I don't know if I can get that in there too, but I think it was on the internet. So there's the symbols for steel, the symbol for embers, fumes, symbol for glass, the alchemy symbols. Got some mushrooms. Those are cut out of some chipboard, so they're a little bit 3D-ish looking. Little alchemy card, the witching hour on the back stamp. Another foil stamp goes over here. This is out of an old alchemy manual. I printed it out. Who knows from when? My guess is 1700s. I blew it up and printed it out. It looks amazing. This right here was actually where some water spilled on it, but it looks pretty cool too, so I left it on there. I didn't print it out again. I thought it made it look more aged. It's right on the back. This was a Spellbinders back before they had embossing folders, but it was a really big white board, and I forgot I even had it. And so I embossed, and it's so deeply embossed. It's so beautiful. And then just a lot of Tim Holtz inks and dyes and some Inca Gold rub-on. It just turned out so beautiful, so detailed. And I think I mentioned this first is some storm paper where I inked some paper and dyed it and then forgot about it and left it outside for a long time. And when I found it, it was really amazing. Kristen Boleyn sent me a stamp set. I think her site is Rusty Attic. Sorry Kristen if I'm saying it wrong, but I think it's Rusty Attic. She sent me an Edgar Allan Poe stamp set. She lives in Germany. She makes some really cool primitives and journals and mini albums. This is some of the Crafter's Companion glitter paper. This is another one of those images where I mixed and matched and put a little witchy hat on her to make her look like a witch going up to a portal. It's an Andy Skinner Vanitas image. It was a period in time when people would do art that mixed being super wealthy and the rot of wealth and death, and just sewed some stitches on the back of some storm paper and stuck it on there. I made an extra pocket up here. Again, Tim Holtz stamps, foam stamps, Gothic foam, and some obscure stamp that I've had for a long time. And a little pentacle, a little sewing around the edges. Journal on both sides. Great big pocket. Back, this one made me giggle. It's a little itty bitty Tim Holtz clip. And I saw this statement on somewhere and it made me just laugh. Crock pots are just electric cauldrons. So I just found an image of a crock pot and put some text over top of it. It just made me giggle. Sewed around it on some Crafter's Companion glitter stock, and so that can be journaled on the back. And last but not least, on the very back, again, it's painted canvas, big piece of lace. It's really thick lace too. That was a really good buy. And this is a little book that I made out of just some cardstock, and a beautiful image of a witch with her kitties in the fall walking through. This is actually a little pocket so you could put some stamps or something done in there. Opened up, made a little pocket in here so you can put some little miniature paper clips to hold things. Tim Holtz tag. And this was out of some little book from the dollar store where you just put notes, so I just took a chunk of it out. Put it in here for note writing. Little Anna Griffin from one of her Halloween kits. Creepy crawly. Stuck it in another little pocket on the side with some stamp. And that is the end. Just a little gold foiling paint, lots of funky glitter, and it's all done. Thanks for looking.